All right, I do want to take a quick moment and give a update on the web-based provenance log project. Full disclaimer, this is not complete. We're about halfway through. I just want to walk you through some of the changes that I made just to kind of give you some context. Of course, what we are talking about is Dave Grantham's provenance log with the unlock scripts and the key value pairs, and just some of the things I wanted to do with this. So I'm a big web guy, internet. I know Dave made a CLI based. I wanted to see something in the browser, so I was sort of making a few iterations to get towards that. So Dave's original implementation had a WebAssembly based sort of virtual machine base layer, and then the provenance log create on top of that, and then the CLI based BetterSign. And so some of the changes I made was I wanted to, so if you use the whack down here can only basically run on the computer. And in order to run something in the browser, what I needed was sort of the equivalent of running a script in WebAssembly, but in WebAssembly. I'll get to that in a second. So what I did was I made this implementation. I iterated on the whack to see if I could make the unlock and lock scripts in something called Rye, which is essentially capturing the logic of the whack, but just in plain text script instead of WebAssembly script. So I've got that built out here as Comrade, and essentially it's the same as whack, but instead of passing in a compiled WebAssembly code, we just pass in the text script logic. So literally just check signature and then those two pieces of text, pass that into the WASM, which is compiled from Rust still, and essentially we get the same effect. But since Rye runs in WebAssembly and WebAssembly runs in the browser, we're able to run a whack equivalent in the browser. So I made this Comrade because of Vlad's, right? So there's Comrade, and essentially there's some code there in the repo. So that was sort of the first base layer change that I made with this iteration. The plog was pretty much the same, except I made I made a branch in the provenance log repo that also uses the Rye. So you'll see the whack is still there, and if you go to the Rye compatibility branch, Comrade is there. And then the third change was I had BetterSign here, but it's very CLI based, very standards based. So what I wanted to do was, in order to get it to run in the browser, I needed to remove the dependencies based on the file system, and I needed to remove all the standard requirements, dependencies that BetterSign was running on. And so I think the other biggest trait was I just kind of made a crypto manager for get key and sign/prove. Eventually down the road, there's probably going to be other proofs rather than signatures, so I kind of renamed it to sign. I renamed sign to prove so that we could use sort of zero knowledge proofs down the road if we wanted to. A signature is a proof and a proof is a proof, so we just went with proof in best sign. And the really neat thing about, the other thing I did was I kind of extracted all the signing and proving out of BetterSign and kind of put it as a separate interface. And what this means is we can use actually a wallet, an external wallet. And this is good Web3 practices or DWeb practices to essentially separate the wallet and the signing and the keys from the app itself. So that's also what I did. And I just kept it in a different repo because I didn't really want to mess up the BetterSign repo right now. But I mean, easily we can pull this in as a separate crate. It's essentially the same with these changes built in. So there's that. So the idea is now you've got a wallet with your private keys stored somewhere, and then you've got sort of the provenance log app, the best sign, the better sign, whatever is using the provenance log. And the idea here is eventually connecting to the log, and this isn't built yet, which is why it's in dashes, you'll have apps that are publishing updates to the plog, and you'll have a way to publish this to the network, BetterSign name system and the interplanetary name system off the plug. So we're not quite there yet, but I wanted to kind of give an update as to where we are. So I've got a little demo here. So again, this is the wallet, and it's broken out completely separately from the Plog app, Best Sign, Better Sign, so that you can really use any wallet you want. You can keep your kind of keep your keys anywhere as long as you offer a signing function, a proving function. This is just a simple demonstration WebAssembly app, but you can imagine that you have, if Dave wanted to use SSH, the secure shell, he could make a small native app, run it on his desktop, and just connect to his home computer and have the SSH sign it. I just made it for simplicity's sake a web-based wallet, which is what you kind of see here. It's kind of nice because you can save username and passwords using your password manager. And if you have a seed from a previously created wallet, you can put that there. And what it does is, for the techno files out there, this is using a key derivation function called Argon2 to use the username and the password to encrypt and unencrypt the seed. But let's assume this is the first time I've ever used this. So you just put a username and password. As long as they're 8 characters long, you can create a wallet. So that'll create the wallet, and this gives you the ability to sign, to generate keys and to sign all the entries. As you can see here, we've got the plain text lock and unlock scripts. This is probably going to be abstracted away from the user down the road. It's just there for now because it's a work in progress. And then essentially I've got a create log function there. And in behind the scenes, essentially it takes the lock script, the unlock scripts, sends it to WebAssembly, generates the log, and it comes back. And I mean, if we went into the console here, you would see that sort of thing. The log is created, and we've got, first lock script is there, and the head and the foot, the CIDs are there, and the Vlad is there. So we're getting there. It's obviously not quite usable yet, and there's a bit of work left to go, but I want to give you an update to let you know where we are with this, and it's looking pretty good. Want to add, obviously, like I said, abstract the lock scripts away a little bit, maybe put that in an advanced feature or a settings feature, and essentially have a place where people can add CIDs. And I talked a little bit about maybe just being able to drag a file into there and plop it, have the log added as a CID and sign it and kind of be there. But this is where we are so far. We have the beginnings of Provenance logs and WebAssembly cryptographic constructs in the browser. And there we go.